Hello everyone, Satorn here giving you another quick Vicky 3 tutorial. This time is going to be about market prices and how to manipulate them. First thing to talk about is why market prices are so important. Well, it impacts quite a bit in the game. For example, standard of living, if we hover over here, we can see what our pop needs are. And if these prices are too expensive, they won't be able to afford these needs and their standard of living will go down. And if it goes down, it will produce radicals, which you don't want. Market prices also impact buildings' profits. You can see here dye is super cheap. And since it's so cheap, their weekly balance is in the negative, and they're struggling to hire enough people to be able to work in this industry. Market price also impacts trade revenue and the level of trade routes. You can see here when we hover over it in the trade revenue. I have a whole nother video on this. Feel free to watch it. But you can see that the average sale price of a given product in both the importing and exporting market have an impact on trade revenue, and that'll impact this overall trade route. So the market price is based on the buy and sell orders a good has. So we're in the Texan market, so it's nice and simple. You can see here for grain, we have sell orders from the maize farm, so it's being produced from them. And then we have buy orders from the pop consumption, so the pops are eating them. The buy orders and sell orders of a product are the same. The market price is the same as the base price of the product. So if we go to fabric and we hover over here, we can see it's actually 20 pounds. When we go back, the market price is 20 pounds. When it comes to market prices, you also need to keep in mind scale. So for example, the Texan market is super small. If we ended up getting 10 more grain, that would make a huge difference in price. For a grain right now, it's 63% above. It would push it really close to equilibrium. If we go to the British market, however, and we only get 10 grain, you can see there'd be literally zero difference in the price. Let's continue with our example of grain, but this time in the Mexican market, we're over 12% the base price right now. So we can take a look at the sell orders, which is our supply. We're getting this from substance farms and maize farms. So one way to make this higher, right, to start getting some more sell orders is we go to grain. And this is really the quick way, but it is kind of temporary or a little bit erratic, is that you can start trading. So let's say we do one trade route here. We go back to the price and we should be able to see here, now it's 10% closer to the base price. So the market price of grain is still not quite where we want it to be. One thing you can do with your trade routes, if you're importing them, what you can do is try to get the level up to level 2. So then that way there's a potential of more of the product being traded. So what we could do is actually reduce the import on tariffs. Right now it's at 15%. What we can do is reduce it to 0%. So this gives more incentive for it to happen. Also, if worst case, this won't grow, you can then, if you have enough bureaucracy and if you have enough convoys, what you can do is just open up another trade, and maybe in this case you can see now that we removed the tariffs, the Russian market opens up and they're willing to produce 50, or the British market actually will give us 90. So if we click on the British market, we go back to our values here, we can see now we're at 8%. In my opinion, trade is a temporary solution because actually other countries, they could change the amount that they're trading you. They could cancel trade agreements. War can happen. There's a lot of things that can fluctuate. So if this is a good that's really important to your economy, I would say you want to produce it domestically. So you'd go over to buildings. And then in this case, we want more grain. So we could do some more maize farms, or we can scroll down into rural as well. And you can have rye farms. You can have wheat farms and rice farms. And even millet farms. So there's a lot of options here to create more grain. It'll be slower because it's going to take time for you to actually build them and employ them, but you'll also be giving jobs to your people, which is a huge benefit. If you're already producing the good that you're trying to manipulate the price on, you can also potentially change the production method. So for here, the maize farms, you can see we're using simple farming, which is giving us 30 grain, but we're also using 15 of that grain to make 7 wine. So what's really nice here in the Mexican market is that actually we have everything distributed across the different states. So you can either change all the production methods if you wanted to up here up top and say we don't want to use grain anymore to make wine. What that'll do though is tank the wine market, right? It's minus 56. I don't think we want to do that. We could take a quick look at the market and we can see here, we can see, yeah, right now wine's at a pretty good price, is like right in the middle. So, but it's a luxury good, so we can make it actually a little bit more pricey. So it's not a huge deal if we convert this over. So what we could do is take a couple of these farms, decide to actually move them over to grain, and then we can go back to our prices here, and we can see, okay, now wine, yeah, it's a little bit higher. It's about 42%, which is okay, again, because it's a luxury. If we go here for the grain now, we're at a plus 2%, so we're almost at an equilibrium where we want it cheaper. Decrees are another way to increase the sell orders or supply of a good. So for example, these maize farms here, we only have level 1, but if this was more levels, this would be even more powerful. We could hover over the encourage agricultural industry. Let's check Rio Grande. We're going to have it activated here. Let's take a look. We're making 30 grain right now. We'll let time pass by. And once this throughput kicks in, you're going to see a big difference. And you'll see now after some time passed, we increased from 30 grain now to 36. Another way to increase your throughput is by increasing the levels of a given industry. So as we do that, you'll also get more of the product. So we'll get more wood if we increase this to level 3, but you also get more throughput. And you can see here for every additional level above 1, you'll get 1% more throughput, which means more product. Market access is very important to your market prices. You can see here that it impacts how many sell orders and buy orders are generated in the state and its production and consumption, and the market price effects of the local price of goods. So even though you see your market and it's a certain price, that's the average. The local price of your goods can change if the market access is not 100%. You also need to keep an eye on your exports. Other countries will actually start taking some of your products. You can see here, especially if they're super cheap. So, and I think that's probably the case here. So for dye, we're losing 53 dye to America. So let's look at our details, and yep, here we go. Dye is actually really cheap. It's the lowest it possibly can, so it's definitely way below base price. So that's why they're taking advantage of it, and they're importing what they can. So we have a balance of 104. So one way we could get this price to go back up is we could actually start exporting even more of this to maybe to another country, and it'll make it a little bit more competitive. A quick indication that something is wrong, you'll see a little red box. You can see that by the tools here. You can see that we have 15 buy orders. We have no sell orders. The buy orders are coming from the gold mine. So right now they have no tools, and the price is through the roof. It's 75%. So we know we got to fix this right away. If we have a good that we desperately need in our economy and we need to reduce the market price, what we may want to do, for example, rubber here, we can't make any. We would have to go to war. So we'd go and see who produces the most rubber. And we could see down in South America near Brazil, maybe these are areas where we would want to go to war so we could then get the rubber plantations. There may be some cases where you want to drive the price up. This means we have way too many sell orders, so we have a lot of supply, but we don't have a lot of buy orders, not a lot of demand. So you can see this here in sugar. We have a lot of extra sugar. We have about 90, and the price is at minus 75%. What we could do is we could hover over this, and the first thing we could look to see is what buildings use it. So for example, food industries need sugar. So if we build some food industries, we can start using some of that sugar, and that should drive the price back up. Another quick temporary solution maybe is to export some of your sugar. So you can see here, we could export to the Russian market. They're going to want, once this levels up completely, 105 sugar, which is great. And we could actually make some money on tariffs if we wanted to. So what this will do is raise the price up. We should be able to go over here, and we're going to see our buy orders are now going to increase over time. It's going to start at 15 because the route is actually probably still level 1. And then as it goes up, oh, it already doubled. We let a little bit time go by, which is really good. So we should see here, yep, now the trade route is at 37. So you can see how this is slowly going up and the prices is starting to change. So exporting is the way to get rid of your extra supply of a given good. Another stable way to increase price, maybe not the best for the people, is you could do a consumption tax. So for example, on liquor, we could do that. We could make a decent amount of money. We'd have to use some authority, but you can see here that the market price will be increased by the consumption tax rate, and that's all dependent on your laws. I think in our case, it's at 35% because we're at land-based taxation. I hope this video helps out beginner players understand market prices, why they're important, and how to manipulate them. Hit that like, subscribe, and notification button. They're free. And as always,
For the swarm.